All right, welcome everyone. Can see people start trickling in. Some faces and names that I know well. Welcome. I'll just give everyone a couple of seconds. Cool. Hey Jana. Hey Jeannie. That's kind of nice to see some familiar people. Hope you guys are doing well.
Are these weekly or monthly listeners that are signing on? You have some
Monthly,
frequent
monthly,
monthly.
monthly listeners, but we go way
That's
back.
great.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm sure. I'm sure this
yeah,
is just a part of the relationship, but
yeah,
that's great. Good frequency.
yeah, yeah. Monthly is we keep everyone on their toes and push through the updates, which is really nice. So we actually only started it this year,
It's the way people engage this day and age.
right?
It's efficient,
Right?
definitely.
Totally. Okay, I think we're good. We have a couple of people in already. People will keep trickling in, so that's great. Um, Welcome, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for joining us monthly again. We're very excited to have you all here. Today, I have Frank Timonello joining us. He's the CEO and co-founder of a company called Fileforms. So we're going to be touching a lot of points today that I'm very excited for, and I think it's going to bring a lot of value for the teams. Now, to start, I actually wanted to, just as people continue trickling in, push through a poll, see what everyone thinks. It's a random question. And it's just kind of there to bring a bit of engagement and not sit there staring at me while I wait for everyone to come in. So I'm going to launch it, but it's just a quick little question. On average, how many important entity documents do you either receive or send via email daily? So give your vote in here. If there's nothing in here that resonates with you, then just leave it. It is anonymous, so I'm not going to see who has voted for what, but there is actually a point to it later on in the demo. We'll be touching on some pretty cool features that we have been working on in the space of AI. And then, as we know, FinCEN is very involved with documents as well. So Frank and the team are here too. We're going to be dabbling in a couple of things, which is great. All right.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you.
I didn't even give you space there, Frank. Sorry. Cool. Okay, so we've got 0 to 5, 15 to 20, 30 or more, brutal. We don't send them with email. Interesting. All right. People are still trickling in. Great. All right. Thanks, gang. Appreciate this. Okay, let's end poll. Perfect. So I'll share the results. Um, Looks like it's pretty even in terms of 0 to 5, 15 to 20. That's a lot of documents. So I think you guys are gonna like what we have in store. It's very interesting to see how this kind of translates across all the different people that have joined in their different roles. Perfect. I'm gonna stop sharing the poll. All right, Frank, can I get a thumbs up? Can you see the webinar page again?
I can see
Perfect.
it all. Looks
Okay,
great.
great. Great. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. You know the drill. We're going to be running through updates that we've recently launched, things that are coming soon, and then how that's going to bring value to you and your teams. Quick housekeeping items. As you know, we will be sending an email with this deck. There are some QR codes on there as well. So if you need to scan things and kind of find different pages and things, if you are interested in referencing points we're chatting about, they will be in the deck. So keep an eye out for that. Recording will also be available. And then please keep an eye on the Q&A section. Send through any questions that you have. While we have Frank here as well, he's a great resource. So if anything comes to mind, please don't be shy. Put the question in the Q&A poll, and then we will answer those towards the end. All right, so quick agenda. We're going to be going through a recap of recent updates. I'm just going to be touching on some very key things that we kind of went through this past month. Then Fileform Spotlight. We're very excited. Frank is going to be running us, whoops, running us through file forms as a whole and this new integration that they have with us in the Athennian application and how that's going to work. So we've got a really neat overview of how you would do these filings with FinCEN and what kind of information would be sent through to their system. Then what's coming soon, very exciting items, and then we'll end with Q&A. So kicking off with updates, there were three kind of pieces that we focused on in this month in terms of value that we wanted to bring. One was ultimate beneficial ownership efficiency. Now, UBO has been in and around the US, North America, globally for a while, and CTA has been kind of hot on the radar for a few months. And as a company, we were dabbling into kind of how we could bring you and all the different clients and users that use Athennian the best value for CTA and ultimate beneficial ownership. And we dabbled into building something ourselves. But ultimately, we decided that the best way forward was actually partnering with Frank and his team because of the valuable product that they've built. It is so beneficial to the team. It integrates phenomenally. So we're very excited. And it just gives you a really streamlined approach to that workflow. Then we also focused on improving services for Canadian law firms. Now, Athennian is a small company. We have been in and around this space for about 7 years, and it is very evident to us with our law firm clients that your workflows and your needs are so robust. You have very enterprise kind of positioned workflows that you often need catered to, and things are very custom and tailored, also very bulk. So we partnered with Dye & Durham. You would have seen that in the news. We're going to touch on it a little bit to give you extra functionality and provide you with more services as well that might not be available to us right now as a small team. So very excited about that. And then we have also been working on some UI and visual updates, which are coming very, very soon. In the next week or two, you should see that. So we'll touch on that too. All right, so first thing is, again, you would have seen this in the news, Unity Entity Management. We recently partnered with Dye & Durham, which is a really big company that focuses on entity management. They are globally known. They are based, or I believe, do the best in South Africa. They're also in Europe. They kind of have a really robust built tool for entity management, so we've partnered with them. They also have direct filings. So again, to address the historical challenges that we've been facing, or law firms have been facing with using a tool robust and efficient enough for their needs, this is going to answer that. So it's available to our Canadian service providers. If you are interested in this, please contact your client success manager, reach out to our team. We can give you more details and updates. But this is really going to change the game for us in terms of offerings and workflows. Next up, so file forms, and we'll jump into kind of Frank giving an overview very soon, but this is available for our professional and enterprise clients. Now, it is not just applicable to our US clients. It is applicable to anyone that needs to file with FinCEN in terms of the CTA. Also, anyone that needs to file ultimate beneficial ownership. So if you are a private equity company or a real estate firm and you need to submit projects and things through to the CTA because they meet the requirements and they're not exempt from the CTA, this can apply to you as well. So keep that in mind if you are interested. We'll have a whole bunch of details at the end that you can kind of scan to get more insights into. But Athennian tracks ultimate beneficial ownership really, really well. We're your source of truth. We know you're always in there updating information. We track percentages, stock, principals, directors, everything to do with ultimate beneficial ownership, and it's always on a rolling basis, so it's always up to date. And now bringing that into something like file forms that just creates efficiency and automates that entire workflow to directly integrate with FinCEN and submit details without you needing to worry about manual updates or anything like that is going to take this to another level. So what I'm going to do, I will pass it over to you, Frank. I have 2 slides and then we've got a little bit of a SharePoint video to kind of run through. But Frank, why don't you start and kind of just give us a bit of a background of what file forms is, what you do, what it looks like with a tool, without a tool, and your vision for all of this.
Certainly. Thank you so much. And excited to be speaking with everyone today. Very excited for the opportunity to show you all our product, and believe we could certainly drive BOI to be really what it could be however you want in your law firm. So depending on how you want to manage this new kind of law that's, obviously impacting a ton of different businesses within your client base, we can give you a lot of flexibility as to, who's ultimately pushing the submission to FinCEN, how data gets uploaded in bulk to save a ton of time. And then obviously having a government approved API and direct integration with FinCEN allows the data to get pushed securely. So, I think a lot of folks have mixed opinions around how they want to be involved. I think we've built a very flexible platform to allow, a lot of different options for these filings. So, yeah, I think, at a high level, the CTA is going to affect 40 million businesses in our country this year. FinCEN would say 32.6. We believe that's a little bit of an understated number. You all probably at this point are well familiar with the CTA, so I won't bore you with laborious content that you can easily find on our website or on FinCEN's website. Obviously, I think the biggest piece of this whole thing is lack of awareness and education. And as we built our solution, just having prior lives working with government portals that are quite light on features and ultimately quite clunky from a user experience. This day and age, we're able to push forward and provide a more substantial user experience, saving a bunch of time for all constituents involved. That includes the users themselves and obviously the government who's looking to kind of get this data to prevent a good cause, which is financial crime. So around the world, obviously UBO information has been reported for many, many years. The US is kind of looking to elevate the reporting standards, and we look to leverage any kind of information that you have in Athennian to ultimately provide an efficient BOI experience. So we're able to file in bulk. Single filing on our platform takes around 10 minutes. The ability to actually make changes to one field and spread that across an entire portfolio of entities obviously is a huge time saver. We mentioned the direct kind of integration with FinCEN and the ability to push data. So we're really excited about kind of what our developers were able to kind of collaborate on and ultimately bring a great product to serve you all and hopefully create a lot of efficiency for this filing seasons. It was interesting. Yesterday we got a good update from FinCEN, which was that only 1.7 million total BOI filings have been filed thus far in the year, which represents, if you estimate off of FinCEN's estimate, which is 32.6 million. I know there's probably a lot of numbers people on here, so I hope everyone's following. But nonetheless, 5% of the total amount of expected reporting companies have filed so far, despite the fact that 40% of the year has gone by. So there's a big discrepancy with respect to people actually filing relative to the sheer amount. And ultimately, it's no surprise. People like to procrastinate. People like to wait to see how, for instance, in a Northern Alabama court ruling shakes out, which is a topic I'm happy to take questions on. We should be getting an update in the 11th Circuit Court on that whole issue. Probably early summer is kind of the expectation we're hearing from our counsels. So, there's a lot of reasons that perhaps has led to, only 5% of reporting companies filing thus far. And sure, a large percentage of those are likely new formations that, have to file within a 90-day window. So, ultimately, I think between summer and the holidays, we want to at least help you all on the call get prepared for what might be, a somewhat, high volume filing season in the third or fourth quarter if folks choose to wait that long. That being said, we are a technology company. We provide an amazing technology experience, which we're excited to demo with Athennian. But we also provide, more hands-on services. So to the extent clients need any support, portfolio level analysis of who needs to file and not. Obviously, technology cannot solve everything. This is highly complex ownership situations, multiple classes of shares, boards, the kind of ambiguous nature around substantial control. It's not always as black and white on first pass, but we do our best to distill it down to a user experience that's easy to consume and has a lot of features such as the ability to kind of push notifications and reminders and invitations in a very secure manner, all encrypted in flight and at rest. So we're able to gather information extremely securely, so folks aren't obligated to pass that over email and text and potentially risk compromising it. So our intention is building an experience that's secure, simple, and easy to use, and that's scalable. So Athenian's really enabled us to do that
Yeah.
for all of you. So.
Yeah. And I want to add on that one piece too, Frank, you had mentioned, like the one thing that I know over the past couple of months has been huge is one, reminders and notifications. Because if data changes, how do we know that we need to file, right? It's that kind of proactive workflow that's worrisome to a lot of people, especially if you're in an industry like private equity or real estate where you're constantly updating data. So that's one thing with file forms with these notifications and just kind of the way you've approached it and the way you connect with Athenian via the API. We're constantly updating information in that sense, which is great. And then in addition to that, another thing was the verification and consistency that you find when you don't have a tool. And that's a huge, huge problem because if you can't verify UBOs and you're constantly in a place where, you're needing to update all this information, you're, responsible for the filings ultimately, kind of bringing file forms in and bringing consistency with that one workflow is a massive one revenue saver, but a time saver as well. So to call that one out, I think that's really helpful with the notifications and the reminders. So why don't we jump into, I'll do a next demo. Why don't we jump into a demo of the system? You can kind of walk through it. I'll just stop share very quickly because I'll need to share a full screen for everyone so you can see this. But let's take a look at how it actually integrates in terms of a software. Again, if the team is aware, everyone on here, this is integrated with our API. So with your professional enterprise packages, as you create an API key, FileForms kind of comes in and pulls that data through. So I'm going to share screen again. Let's do this. And if I can just get a thumbs up from you, Frank. Perfect. Okay. So I'll hit play. I don't think there's any sound on this. But Frank, if you want to walk us through
It
things,
looks it looks a little bit zoomed in. Is there
is
any
it?
way we can zoom out a little bit? If
Yes.
not, it's
Let's
no biggie.
try. I'll exit full screen. Um, let's do this. I'm
Just don't
actually
want to
not
miss
sure.
out on any good stuff.
Is that good?
Maybe if you just zoom out on your browser, top right,
Okay.
the kebab icon on the top right.
1 second. Zoom is giving
Yep,
me.
there
Hold
you
on.
go.
Let's do this. I'll stop share. Let's do this. That might be better. Let's give it a shot.
Let's see it. So many different size screens these days. You never know what you're going to get on the
Honestly,
different video
it's
platforms.
so painful. It's like you would think I'm not even in tech. Can you imagine? Is that better?
I think it is. I think it is
Okay,
better.
great.
Let's just make sure we're starting the video from the beginning so we can commentate
Yes,
this whole thing.
definitely. Um,
Sneak preview
and
of what's to come.
yeah, there you go. Okay,
Excellent.
great. Sorry, guys.
So I'll try to keep up with the pace of this video because it is pretty fast. But nonetheless, here you'll see, the ability to paste in the generated API key from the Athenian platform. At this point, the users has kind of selected which companies they want to import. That's done on the Athenian side. Here you'll see quite a few companies come in, and then ultimately we'll go ahead and show how, you can see right now the status was not submitted. Um, you'll kind of go into the Athenian platform and see that same business Shady Pines. This is the information that we will show you that was pulled in via the API. So the intention is to kind of provide an efficiency, kind of a one-time sync of all the information, come in once it's selected, and then you will see that the status of the information will change as you push notifications to the various individuals that are around this process. So you're able to push notifications to beneficial owners to collect things such as their IDs securely. We'll preview kind of what that email looks like here. This is kind of a branded email that, a beneficial owner would receive. You've been identified as a beneficial owner of the organization. Click the link to go ahead and sign in. They actually will get walked directly in, so they actually don't need to create an account. They're basically, confirming their information here. If they have a FinCEN ID, that obviously don't have to put in any more information that's already in there. I'll just gray it out. So kind of an efficiency there. If you choose to get FinCEN IDs, we can help with that if need be. And then ultimately they're prompted to, either select their ownership. That's not required on the form, though kind of a nice user experience. Here are the ID, the ability to upload the ID directly into our system securely. So each beneficial owner can do that super efficiently. And then we actually do track the expiration of the ID. Obviously, FinCEN requires an active ID to be submitted. It's not always that an ID expiring will necessarily cause a refiling, though some states do change, but the number which would be a refiling. But as you can see there, the information was completed upon that ID being uploaded. It's a little celebration with some confetti. We always like to celebrate the good things of getting compliant. And then subsequently, the user will now expect to see some information from FinCEN in their Athennian portal. Right now, we're just confirming kind of the company information. This is the review and submit step here, where we're reviewing before we actually submit formally to FinCEN. So this is an ability to make changes kind of at the final step. Here, we're actually submitting to FinCEN. We completed our information with confetti, and then ultimately here we're submitting to FinCEN. We can customize those terms and conditions. So if you all have, specific, wants and needs around what type of disclosures you like, and then, effectively it says thank you. It brings you to this kind of summary page, shows the filing pending. We pull the BOR ID, which is a confirmation number provided by FinCEN. The user will also, what we call the business admin, which is something that will be delegated from a permission standpoint by the kind of org user that we're looking at from this perspective. So this is you kind of managing the workflows on behalf of your clients, and then your clients ultimately doing the submissions. Here is what you'll see in your Athennian document section with respect to the deliverable that FinCEN provides. Now, file forms, we also provide a third-party deliverable, which is effectively a summary of what was filed, how it was filed, policies, procedures that you effectively get by using the file form system, given the reminders and the ability to kind of set reminders automatically. So every 30 days, is a natural frequency given the nature of the law and the changes required, to disclose in that window of time. So we really try to build it distinctly, for this experience to cause a lot of efficiency and hopefully just manage the ultimate risk. This is new. I think it kind of requires, uniform reporting rather than, having to do kind of one entity at a time on a FinCEN portal and then be on the onus for having to store that information on your own. I mean, I think many of the folks on this call are probably not looking forward to, an opportunity to store IDs or anything like that. So having the ability to outsource that securely, we use AWS as our backend. All our developers are onshore. So we really try to provide a really secure experience and, work very closely with the federal government. So what else would be helpful to cover? Should we do some questions or
No,
hopefully that was comprehensive.
yeah, that was amazing. No, it was great. And there are some questions actually that I'll touch on in a second, but it's amazing how quickly and how efficiently you can pull the data from Athennian into file forms. But I think also in addition to that, that onus piece being put on the beneficial owner themselves to update information is also huge, right? I mean, we can't be responsible for that kind of information across the board. And then pushing that through with email notifications, having them sign directly in is really helpful. There are a couple of questions. Patty, you have asked, does the PI information that is entered by the BO during the process get saved onto Athennian? We have opted not to save PI information in Athennian as too many people in our org would have access to this. First, just one mention, Patty, and you may not know this, but chat to your client success manager if this is a concern. There is a way to lock PII information. It's on the access section. You just add in the restriction, and so that would be completely hidden from users if you don't want them to have that kind of access. But I think, Frank, in terms of does it get entered into Athenian if the beneficial owner enters it into file forms, would that save back? Do you know? Or does it stay within file forms?
Right now, it stays within file forms, and ultimately, you can access file forms if you're an admin of your Athenian instance. So that's actually how we have it constructed now, and I'm sure depending on wants and needs, we can obviously take that feedback in.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope, Patty, that answers your question. Let us know, and we can send through an email too if you're interested in diving in a little bit more. We'll also be giving you the file forms page that you can contact too if you want. I've got a question from Masako Hashimoto. Um, they're asking who would actually hit the submit button? Would it be them or their client? And can they preview the draft form before submitting?
Yeah, so that preview draft form was the section that we saw in the video, and I'm sure we can circulate this video after the fact, or and ultimately you have the ability to control who submits the form. So, for example, if you wanted to upload all the information, kind of be at the review and submit step, you can then go back to the BO section and add an invite to that business. That business is kind of its own object. And then ultimately, that would be providing the permissions for, say, a BO to submit on behalf of the company. So that all is done via email. And, they would see that same experience where they could then review their information. And, because they're a business admin, they can review everyone's information. They obviously don't have access to the IDs. That's unnecessary. Those IDs are blinded and stored, but they can use IDs across many entities, which is a nice user experience, saves a ton of time. So there's a pretty good amount of usability once the information's in, and then obviously we have all the necessary guidelines, tooltips, and then chatbot features, et cetera, to provide the necessary support if there's any ever confusion. So hopefully that
Amazing.
answers the question.
Yeah, I think that does. And if you have more questions as well, again, feel free to reach out to our team. Your client success manager will be able to help as well. So yeah, and there are a couple coming in through too. So I'll take three more and then we can move on. And then if there are any more at the end as well, we can jump into them too. But Susan's asking if our firm will be providing a full service approach to CTA compliance, analyzing and gathering all information for BOI reporting. Will this work for us? Is our firm able to insert PII for individuals as opposed to sending them an email to insert the information? What
Certainly.
are your
If
thoughts
you
on that?
already if you already have the information, it's a drag and drop, easy, super easy.
Amazing.
Do it once and then spread it across as many entities as that individual is affiliated with.
Amazing.
And once again, those IDs are not accessed once they're uploaded. So it's blinded, it's in there, it's secure, it's only going to go to FinCEN at that point, but it can be used across many. Now, a every time you assign a BO across entities, you can kind of tee up a bunch of emails that will eventually push to them, that will let them know to assume kind of the invitation to each business that they ultimately are affiliated with.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. And also Susan, like to add to that too, and I'm sure Frank has also thought of this as in terms of you as a firm offering a full service for CTA compliance, that can be taken into account when it comes to your pricing too, right? If you as a firm manage this data and you want to, service them with a higher tiered white glove service, that's possible as well, right? Or you can leave it to file forms, still using both ways, but there is that piece where you can kind of control how much you want this to impact clients, how much you want to charge them, how much control you have of workflows, which is really neat too. So I'll mark that one answer. I hope that helps, Susan. Let us know if you have more questions as well. And then we've
And we
got two
can
more.
we can
Yes.
we can give you all the ability to set the price. So if you feel like our prices are too low or too high, you tell us, but ultimately you can control the custom pricing on what your client sees. So if they're looking to charge a billable hour rate, that's possible.
Yeah, totally. And it helps as well, right? Depending on the type of clients you have, you might see, okay, we're going to be doing this a lot, or we don't do this as often. So you can kind of play that piece in. Megan is asking, in some provinces, the UBO is reported at the same time as the annual return. How does this integrate with current online filing done through Athennian for BC and Ontario? So Megan, short answer is that is separate. This is UBO filings. It's not your annual returns. So if you are doing both at the same time, again, you can still push through the filings. This is FinCEN, so it's US, BC, and Ontario is in Canada. So just keep that one in mind. Leslie's asking, does the client need to have access to Athennian in order to use file forms or separate? Nope, they do not. You will be doing this on behalf of them. It's all done through the API. So keep in mind security, data accuracy, all of that is of the utmost importance. We don't want to be giving this out to everyone. But when you are sending that email to the beneficial owner, they're just inserting their information in that one kind of key piece, and you still control the workflow from start to end. Anything to add, Frank? Have I hit the nail on the head with that one? Or
Yeah, just think of like different hierarchies with respect to permissions, with kind of you all being at the top of the food chain, and then ultimately having people below who can kind of do work under your org. We call it an organization, an org, and then below that there's business admins. So they obviously only have access to the businesses kind of within their domain. And then ultimately below that hierarchy would be the BOs who really have only the ability to see their affiliations with the businesses that they have ownership of, but can't manipulate kind of business information and things of that nature. So unless they're assigned kind of responsibility to do so. So
exactly.
sometimes it's helpful to just kind of break it down like that.
Yeah, no, and that's a great breakdown. That's exactly it. And also to add to that too, because there's one more question coming in from like, where is the Athenian key generated? That's a conversation to have with our API and how we can access that. We can help you walk through all of that too. Super simple. You would add it like you would a user. But to add to that, what is really neat is the way our roles and permissioning works in terms of Athenian is we can kind of set up what group of data or what data set you want to give access to, like file forms or something that's integrated. And so if you only have a significant group of clients that need to file, and everything else is exempt from the CTA, you can create that group. It's your CTA group, and that's what file form sees and use. So if you wanted to take your security one step further as well, you're not just opening this up. The API can connect to what you give it permission to connect to, which is great. So just that piece, but I don't know the name. It's anonymous, but chat to our team afterwards. We can help you. You'll need the API for all of this as well. And then you just generate the key and you connect straight. So we'll help with setup and all of that. You won't have to worry about that piece. But I hope that helps. One more question. What is the cost for us to use file forms? Great question. We will be sending all those details out. I have a QR code in a couple of slides that you can scan. It's going to take you straight to the file forms page with all the details. It is on a per filing basis, but we can get to that at the end as well. And then if you have additional questions too, you can reach out to Frank and the team, and to Athenian as well.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we're
Thank
here
you,
as a
Frank.
resource.
Anything else?
Yeah, we just want to be as helpful as we can be. We've been following this law since its infancy in 2021, and actually before that as well. So, we like to kind of learn the nuances. If you do have unique situations that you need kind of a depiction, we love kind of opining in those types of things. So we're super excited to deliver technology and any education we can.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you, Frank. No, it's great. We're very excited. Your team is phenomenal. You've built a wonderful product. They're one of the top in the US to be doing this as well. So really at the forefront. Frank also has a podcast if you guys are interested. I found it the other day, Frank, and I was listening. So we'll
Awesome.
connect all the
We
details.
love talking business compliance, and we bring a bunch of
Yeah,
different types of business communities on there. So yeah,
yeah,
please do listen, and it's on Spotify and such.
totally. Yeah, we'll share it afterwards as well. Who knows? Maybe I need to start one.
Come on, come on board. We'd love to have you.
I'm sure that will go down well. Actually, maybe it's already in the works. You never know.
I
Um,
love it. I'll keep waiting.
yeah, perfect. Okay, perfect. That's great. So I'm going to hop into two more things. Very exciting. Everyone stay on the call. There's even more. And then again, if you have questions, keep them coming. There are a couple that have asked some additional questions, which we'll answer at the end. But let's jump into what is coming soon. So again, what is coming in the next couple of weeks? We're very excited. Um, AI functionality. Now, you may have heard this here and there. We've done a couple of posts. I know Adrian was doing a post, I think, last week. But Athenian as a team, we are super invested in streamlining the manual processes you experience in your day to day. We know that it is painful to manage the amount of data that's coming in at all times, and with the amount of workflows that are increasing at all times too, with things going global and online, it becomes a bit difficult to manage, right? Gone are the days of filing cabinets, and emails are everything right now. So reason why I asked that poll in the beginning is we are going to be releasing an AI feature very soon. Launch date is still set to come, but I would say within the next 2 months, you should see something. The value of this feature and kind of what we're trying to drive, it comes in at the beginning of a workflow when you are importing documents, either from your email, so it is going to integrate directly from email. Don't have to be an Athenian user for the email to kind of come through if you need to put documents in. There will be control and everything around it, but bringing the documents into the system or uploading documents into the system and having AI read the title of the document, what the document is doing or what it's telling you to do in the entity, leaving notes on that kind of document, and then also putting it in the right entity, all within one workflow. So we're taking a workflow that usually takes maybe 5 to 8 minutes for one document, and that's getting it in an email, downloading it, uploading it, putting the data through, changing the title, making sure the effective date is right, and literally changing that to a 30-second workflow where it just pulls it in, it's pending, it reads everything. You also get to review it. So there is a draft kind of overview that you approve before it saves it into the system. And we can do this in bulk. So it is a really, really neat integration. This is actual, these images are from our application we have it going through a beta set testing with some clients right now. But ideally, it would be kind of like a dashboard that you pull in with with AI, and then it's going to have statuses on these documents, when it was uploaded, who uploaded them, how long it's taking, if it's kind of syncing in the back. And then you can kind of look at all the documents you have filed and put them straight in the minute book in their right folder. So really neat. We'll start with document uploads and email integrations. That's kind of where it's going to surface. And then as we kind of massage this and improve the feature as we go, more is going to come. So again, the goal is to get the data in the application as quickly and efficiently as possible to then give you guys the time to do what you need to. Make the right decisions. If a lawyer has to send through a document and the document pulls out the entity name and tells you what the document is saying, we have some examples with certificates saying, Bob is getting 1,000 shares. That all auto-populates from the AI in the little description box, and it saves it in the minute book, which is really, really nice. So little sneak peek, it's coming soon. You will hear more about it. Highly encourage you to join next month's demo because we'll be, not demo, webinar. We'll be chatting about that a little bit more, but we are very excited for this. Then you will be seeing very soon an update to our people and dashboard sections. We're going to be updating the look of this, streamlining the UI. It's already live in a couple of our environments that we use to test, so you should be seeing it within the next week or two. But it's it's available on all plans, Essential, Professional, and Enterprise. And it's just to improve clarity and consistency in terms of what you see, makes it easier for you to find things. We've changed some of our icons and our graphics, so look out for that when you sign in after the next couple of updates, because you will notice that. All right, so quick look at the value this will bring. Direct filings to FinCEN. I think Frank has drummed home that value so well. So thank you, Frank, for being here today. But accurate ownership data can be sent directly to FinCEN with our file forms integration. And that really is it. I mean, we're talking 10-minute filings. We're talking accurate beneficial ownership information. It gets updated by the person themselves. There is no question in terms of security or where the data is stored. You don't have to worry about people having access to PII information that shouldn't. There is no risk of non-compliance. There's consistency and verification. So all of that brings so much value to you and your team. And again, saves you a lot of money in terms of risk if you do forget to file with FinCEN, and there are things that you have to pay for with fines and things. So that's number one. Number two is enhanced workflow and compatibility for our Canadian service providers. You guys are who we started with, and we're still going strong. So really excited about the opportunities that the Dye & Durham partnership will provide. Keep your eye out. If you have any questions, again, ask your client success manager. And then automation and efficiency with the visuals and the AI modernization. We are trying to kind of drive at the forefront of entity management. A lot of tools are out there that will help you draft contracts or will help you read documents, but not a lot of tools help you get the information into the system that you already trust as your source of truth to then keep relying on, keep accurate data, bringing all your team members in. If you are a tax professional that does annual tax returns once a month, once a year in February or April, whenever your season is, and you have 100 different annual tax returns that you have to bring in and put in the right entity, just use the AI. It'll upload everything directly from your email or import your bulk documents, name them accurately, and put them straight in the minute book, which is really neat. So ending upcoming updates. This Thursday, we'll be releasing our product launches. Regular time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. Future webinars, the next one will be on June 4th, so keep your eye out. We might change the date depending on holidays. I know some people might be off, some people might not. Keep an eye out for that, but we will be having one very soon. And then, as we had mentioned, Q&A is at the end. So I'm curious, are there any other questions? Anything anyone wants to know? We actually have one in the comments that had asked earlier. I wanted to save it for last, but are there any plans to improve UBO efficiency for non-US clients? And I think this is kind of directed towards you, Frank, in terms of file forms. Anything in the works for expanding outside of the US? Any thoughts? Yeah.
We've been known to build products extremely quickly. If there is a huge demand for it, I guarantee we'll build it.
There you go. That's the answer you're looking for. So in short, again, like any SaaS software, if you guys have feedback, let the team at FileForms know. In terms of Athennian, we do ultimate beneficial ownership tracking across the board globally. So you might not file directly, but we have an API as well. So, if you build something or if you are interested in exploring that too, the ownership data does live in the system and we can make it work. And then I have answered the second one. Are there any other questions? Because if there aren't any, I'm going to push through a little poll and then get the QR codes and things scanned.
One last thing as it relates to foreign entities, we also have an FBAR product, Form 114. That is something you'll see towards the end of the BOI experience. I'll ask you if you have any foreign bank accounts. So in the context of folks that might be international on the call, that could be beneficial. That's filed with FinCEN as well.
Amazing. Amazing. And that you said Form 14.
For 114.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
Yep.
Okay. Amazing. All right. So I'll put this up. That's the file forms page that you can scan with your QR codes. Please go for it. It'll take you straight to their site. Before we leave, I would love to know, I have one more poll going out. I actually would like to know what you and your teams are most excited about that we have covered today. Let me give 1 second. I'll just launch that. If you don't mind, let me know. Is it FinCEN filings? Is it Dye & Durham? Is it Athennian AI? What are you excited about? And then if you are excited and you do want us to get in touch with you a little bit more, we can send you details too. So I'll keep the newsletter and things sent out to the teams. Next month's product update webinar will have more information on. If you want more people in your team to join, by all means join. It's not just Athennian people. And then we'll send all of Frank and his team's details for you guys as well. Podcast, the works. Frank is a great speaker, so you can kind of drink your coffee, do your things.
Come join the fun.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, I'm gonna end poll soon. It's very interesting. We have 7 people interested in filings, which is really cool. Dye & Durham 5, and quite a lot of people interested in Athennian AI. So Very, very interesting. Great. All right. We will send you all the details. Again, you know where to find us if you need anything. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Frank, for the
My
amazing
pleasure.
demo. Yeah, it's been great. So, really looking forward to the next couple of months with you and the team.
Likewise. Looking forward to working with you all. Thank you so much. Have a
All
great
right.
rest of your week.
You as well. Bye,
All right.
everyone.
Take care.